Hi everyone, here's a little clip to show you more or less what you should have been working on this weekend. I didn't want to show you at first because I want you to be able to think on your own when problems come. I will always be there to answer your questions, but I want you to figure things out on your own. One important thing to remember is that at this point I am not naming this behavior. I am not calling it target, I am not calling it place, I am not calling it touch, because I really don't have anything that is similar to my 2-on 2-off contact right now. So I want my dog to be able to fail, and if I'm not asking for it, then there's nothing that my dog can do wrong. If I say touch and my dog doesn't stop, then he's ignoring my command. So at this point, all I'm saying is go and good and okay and good girl. The release is very important. But other than that, I don't want to say anything else. Once the dog starts offering to go to the mat, I just want to reward her for being there. And the longer she stays, the more cookies she can get. But remember, I am not saying anything. Yes, my motion is enticing her to go to it, but I am releasing her with a verbal go. Other than that, all she's getting is a good girl and a cookie. I do say okay once I'm going to release her, because eventually I don't want my motion to be her release cue. I want my verbal and only my verbal to be able for her to release from that position. So no matter what my body's doing, she needs to stay on that mat until I say okay. Some people use break. It's up to you. It comes natural to me to say okay. But the longer she stays there, the better. But I don't want it to become boring, so I wouldn't really leave the dog there for more than 10 seconds at most. Make it quick, make it fun, be done with it. Don't spend too much time on the step, and don't try to be a perfectionist. Mistakes are good, and they learn to problem solve when we let them make mistakes. All right? Have fun. It is important when you release your dog that your dog is looking ahead. Notice that when I release her, her head is looking at that target, and she moves towards that target until she gets there. Then, yes, she is turning around and looking at me. But again, this is something that I will solve eventually, but not yet. Notice that I'm running past my dog right now because now I want to start proofing how much can my dog handle my motion. I'm going to recall her to position. I was ahead of her in that clip. I'm going to run by her, and I'm also going to go lateral on her. Again, I'm still not asking for a specific position as far as her staying straight on the board. All I want is for her to go to it and hold her place there, not come off of it to get a cookie. I just want her to go ahead, whether I'm behind her, ahead of her, or lateral. I want her to drive to that mat and just wait for me to give her the next instruction, whether it's me coming back to give her a reward or just releasing her to me. All right, see, there she turned to me, but I'm not concerned about it at this point. I'm just teaching the dog how to go to it without me. Once I know my dog understands the concept of going to that position, I'm going to add a little bit of more level of difficulty by adding distractions. My dog obviously loves toys, but this can be done also with a bowl of food way ahead of them. So they have to drive, but they have to wait for your release to keep moving. This could be very useful when you have a tunnel in front of a contact. So now her position is actually starting to look what I would like at the end, where her feet are forward, her head is forward, and she's facing forward, not looking at me, waiting for the release. That toy in the future could be a jump that is tempting, but it's not hers to take until I release her. I like my dog to be able to drive to a toy that has no motion, meaning a dead toy. This can be done separately, and you will see some clips on how to work on it. But basically at this point, I'm going to go back and proof everything. Proof me running by, me staying behind, going lateral. But as you can see, now her position is starting to get a little bit more accurate on what a 2-on 2-off will be once we put it on the board on the flat. I would spend as much time as possible in this step to make sure you get the drive you want and the attitude you want. It was hot and it was very windy, and she was starting to get a little bit tired. There she made a mistake, so no big deal. Very important point. I am not saying anything at this point. I'm not saying target. I'm not saying touch. I am just releasing her with a go because we have worked her position on the mat and I have rewarded it. She should know by now she needs to wait for a release, but I am not naming it yet. Two important skills I like to have before starting this training is for my dog to be able to drive to a dead toy and for my dog to be able to leave it when a mistake happens without losing any motivation. I like my dog to go ahead and do something, get that toy without me having to move towards it and without the toy having to be moving. They love to chase frisbees, but once the frisbee's dead, it kind of they lose their motivation. So I want to be able to practice this on the flat so that my drive to the board to that position on two on, two off becomes a little bit more valuable. Whether there's a toy moving, whether I'm moving or not, it doesn't matter. The dog is able to drive ahead without any extra motivation other than your verbal. The leave it is very, very important that you keep your dog happy and keep your dog not letting them know that they made a mistake. It's just another command, just like telling them sit halfway to a recall position, just like having them lie down when they're coming to you. Praise them when they do leave it. In this clip, as you see, I called her off, I played with her, I sent her again. Don't make too many repetitions on the leave it because then they start losing motivation. But it's important that they are able to leave a toy and come back with the same enthusiasm as when they are allowed to take it. I hope this clip helps you with your homework. Please be sure to include your link when you upload your homework to YouTube. Make it private so we don't have to share it with the world, but we will all be commenting on it and see you in the forum or in the chat room. Bye.